Now it's been confirmed he just passed away and drowned in a river.
Damn, bro. I saw your video. I thought it was a hell of a tribute for Herman Ho-Chang. Love the guy. Growing up, we all got to watch him play. We all played in those games. And, playing football in Southern California was awesome for us. If you guys don't know the origins of, like, me and my brother and everything else. But, Rico does this from time to time where he showcases these kids that need to be seen and or not forgotten. And definitely Herman Ho-Chang's one of them. It reminds me of this time. So we're in the truck. We're driving. At the time, we have, an all-state kid, Frederick Collins. He's in the truck with us, and he wasn't even in high school yet. And it was me, my brother, my dad, and Frederick. And we were going to go watch Rim of the World play in a CIF football game, like in playoffs. And we're driving up to Rim of the World, which is Lake Arrowhead. We're going to drive all the way up the mountain. And we get up there and we find out the game's canceled and or it's been moved because of the fog, because the clouds rolled in. So they had like weird rules back then. Well, they still have them now, I guess. But the game had been moved. So we were like, man, we don't have a game to watch. We drove all the way up here. So we actually are driving down the mountain. And back then, we didn't have Google. We didn't know what game was going on, nothing like that. And we had the rare opportunity. We actually rolled up to Redlands East. So East Redlands High, we rolled up on them. They were in the playoffs, the CIF, and they just happened to be playing against Long Beach Poly. Because we came down the mountain and we saw the lights, right? So like back in the day, you would drive around town looking for lights. You're just looking for stadium lights. That's all you're looking for. And that's a high school, that's a game that's on, and you were going to go catch a game. You didn't know who was playing, you didn't know who was what. So we got there and we went straight and we went to the visitor side, I still remember. And we're sitting there, we're like, yo, who's this? And they're like, nah, man, that's Long Beach Poly. We're like, really? Wow. Because you see him, on Fox Sports West. And that's all you would see is, Chris Lewis. Played volleyball and he played football and went to Stanford. And you saw Herman Ho-Chang, you're like, okay, who's this running back? And of course, I like Kareem Kelly. I like Darryl Rideau because we were track guys. And these guys were fast. And you knew who was going to USC. Like you guys all talked about it because we were big USC fans back then. You had the Troy Polamalu going. You had, we played against a linebacker, or we saw a linebacker, CIF championship, Claiborne. Chris Claiborne. He was the middle linebacker for JW North, and I still remember that. And he was a monster. And then he ended up going to USC and like winning the damn is it the Butkus Award in college? I think it is. Anyway, we're watching the games, and these guys come out, and they're world class athletes playing at high school level, and it was such a sight. And I still remember having the luxury of watching them win and play against Redlands East, and it was phenomenal when you see talent that great. And then to see them all stay home and go local and stuff like that. Not all of them, most of them. You felt like that was an extension of the high school teams. So like I remember racing Marcel Ullman, like I raced him in hurdles, and it was at the Brea Linda track, the Invitational, and I'm one of the best track hurdle guys in the history of the schools out here. And we showed up on the track, and it doesn't matter what you're running, man. A guy like that comes in, runs a 13.7, and you just look around. He went to St. Paul, and you're just like, wow, Marcel Ullman, one of the greatest athletes to ever walk the face of the planet in California. So just things like that you remember growing up. So we were so fortunate back then to have these great athletes around us. So yeah, thanks for taking me down memory lane there with Herman Ho-Chang and the crew and the game and Kenyon Rambo and Darryl Rideau. Yeah, that whole crew, Larry Kroom. What a squad, man. And shout out to them. And if you guys are followers of high school football, if you guys follow prep sports, and you guys watch those kids like from the bottom up, it really means a lot. It means a lot to community. It means a lot to the family. And right now I'm following some wrestling kids, and I follow the Mantanonas. I follow their record. One of the little guys, Brock, he just went to Budapest and he placed at Worlds. And you're like, man, that little kid from the hometown Palm Desert, he's going, and they're both going to Michigan, him and his other brothers in All-American Oklahoma. These are wrestling like gods down here, right? But they get beat. You're like, who the hell's beating these kids? But it's the same thing. When we grew up playing football, we're like, who the hell? We're at a passing camp and Carson Palmer's out there throwing bombs. Who the hell's going to beat Carson Palmer? Like it's just stuff like that. So this is fun, reminiscing, but it's also fun knowing that if you guys ever want to see someone that gives recognition to the kids and follows them start to bottom, I give props to my brother for that, man. He's always been that guy. I remember we used to have NCAA on the PlayStation, and Rico would go in there and rename the whole team to guys that we played with and give them attributes and stats based off of what they were when we played with them. And then he would do like franchise mode, or, back then in the college ranks, and he would win national titles with San Diego State. And he would get like, they would actually adopt him into the Pac-10, and we would keep stats for decades. And while we were playing those games, and it's awesome that mindset from then, and being 17, 18, and 19, now that we're in our 40s and we're able to address it to the public. And I do it on finance, he does it on sports. I know this video is a lot longer than what people ever thought, but I'm just making a video for myself so that it's documented. Bro, shout out to you for what you do. And for the kids that go unseen, or the kids that aren't in the limelight, reminds me a lot of yourself, your sports takes, and the work that you're putting in. I put in a lot of work on the finance side. I do videos about due diligence on stock market and investments, and people see my series, Connecting the Dots, all that stuff. And I respect anyone who's hustling as hard as me. And I only know one guy who's ever in competition with me, and not that we're in competition, but who's competitive as me or has worked as hard as I do on this end. And I would tell you it's you, bro. So keep killing it, man. You're killing TikTok. And, I support you, and I support what you got going on. So, Reek, get it going. Rico knows. Your friends don't know, but my brother knows. I'll put it out that way. And if you ever want to know about finance, well, GameStop. Can't stop, won't stop, GameStop. I'm going to see you around, millionaires. Peace.